comfortable within your community, and you know that you can find guidance and acceptance with your rabbi or other religious leader. Or maybe you don't feel this comfort. Maybe you, along with the 10,000 children reported to be sexually abused by Roman Catholic priests, were harassed by a leader who you thought you could trust. Abuses in organized religion often stem from a lack of sexual education in both leaders and their members. Children and young adults aren't taught how to navigate sexuality, and leaders are unaware of how to stimulate an environment absent of these abuses. In the ultra-Orthodox or Haredi community, there's a culture of secrecy. This secrecy surrounds topics deemed taboo, such as sex, sexuality, and physical boundaries. These topics are never discussed. One woman described how she had to wait to marry off her 10th child before she could come forward about her sexual abuse story. This gives the abusers more power, and therefore never ends the cycle of harm. From a young age, members of the Haredi community are taught that sexuality isn't Jewish and are shamed for wanting any part of it. Any confusion they may have about boundaries or personal space remains unanswered. When a famous rabbi or other famous person from their community approaches them and tells them to do something sexually inappropriate, they don't know how to say no. Instead, they know what they've been taught their entire lives: to trust and to listen to their leaders, no matter what. Chaim Wilder was a famous rabbi and psychologist who was among the most trusted voices in the Haredi community. He had more than 80 incredibly popular child and adult books, and was awarded the Guardian of Children Award from the Prime Minister of Israel. He was well known and adored, not only within the Haredi community, but throughout all of Israel. This past November, an Israeli newspaper broke the story about accusations of rape from multiple women and girls, some as young as age 12, all of whom had been under his care as psychology patients. Since this publication, more than 25 additional people have come forward as victims of his abuse. This news flooded Jewish communities worldwide this past December, but these abuses have been occurring in religious communities for decades. In 1981, clergy member Roger Sinclair was accused of sexually harassing 2 adolescent boys in Kittanning, Pennsylvania. The church heard these accusations, sent him away for treatment, and allowed him to return to the church, where he committed these abuses again and again, until finally, in 2002, he was officially removed from the ministry, after even more allegations from a victim whose claims dated back to Sinclair's very first assignments as a priest. The Pennsylvania diocese, more than 20 years earlier, had failed to tell the public, and therefore Sinclair's future employers, about Sinclair's accusations. Although Sinclair was sent away for treatment, his progress was not tracked, which then led to the endangerment of those incapable of defending themselves. Of the almost 1,700 priests to be dismissed because of sexual abuse, Sinclair was not among the majority to receive treatment. Because of these priests' obvious religious affiliation, the church should have been encouraged to follow their members and aid them on the road to recovery. By simply dismissing them, they opened the door for them to harm others, just as they had within their church. Pope Francis has begun taking steps towards eradicating sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. Upon his re-election in 2013, he called for decisive action, and in 2018 proclaimed to all Roman Catholics the condemnation of sexual abuse and all church-related cover-ups of such scandals. This has been the most dramatic change in the Roman Catholic Church's criminal code for decades. He also held a meeting which focused on pedophilia within the church and explicitly forbade sexual abuse, grooming minors for sex, possessing child pornography, and cover-ups of sexual abuse. Although each of these measures targets a small portion of a much larger issue, they show the public, and more importantly the clergy, that sexual abuse is making its way to the forefront of religious communities. Although I cannot directly make the necessary changes to globally eradicate sexual abuse from religious institutions, I can introduce preventative measures that take away some of the initial behaviors. I believe that the inclination to harm others, especially by someone in place to provide guidance and security, comes largely from a place of educational and emotional neglect. Before we eradicate sexual abuse completely, we must first incorporate sexual education into even the most religious communities, and eliminate the taboo surrounding sexuality. At HAA, we can start small. I believe that the rabbi and other staff truly are here to support us and help us grow. However, as faculty comes and goes, we must ensure that those coming in are just as invested in our health and safety as those that are here now. A training program or other type of instruction should be implemented into the faculty curriculum annually. This would include how to navigate student-teacher relationships in a professional manner and how to ensure a feeling of safety for all students, especially around their teachers. The incredible harm that comes from sexual abuse is only magnified when it stems from someone in our community who we think is there to support us. We must continue to fight so that members of all religions across the world feel at home amidst their community. Thank you.
You talked about also how children don't know enough about like sex and sexuality to know how to say no to uncomfortable situations. Do you have any proposals on how to teach the students both in the high school and in lower schools about situations such as these and how to navigate them and like reach out to someone trustworthy and things like that?
So I think that from a young age, children should be taught about stranger danger and protecting themselves from other people, especially in physical ways. And as students get older, these lessons can evolve into something like more like deeper, so that if this were to happen to them, they would know exactly what to do and how to navigate around it. Even though it shouldn't necessarily be on the students to protect themselves, but it is definitely important that they know how to protect themselves.
Do you think something similar to what Sivan suggested should be implemented into the high school?
Yeah, I think this should be implemented into like sex education, or it should follow a similar curriculum. Like when you're younger, it's very like simple and basic, and then as you grow older and mature, it sort of evolves into something deeper. And in this case, it should be about not only how to protect yourself, because as you get older, especially children, like you don't face as much of a threat of this, and so it could evolve into how to protect others in the community and teach others too.
How should students go about if they are in a situation with a teacher which they think as like either like problematic or like, I don't know, uncomfortable situations with that teacher, and they're going to evolve into like a more serious situation? How would one go about navigating that type of situation?
Well, first of all, in our school for sure, we have a really great support system and teachers who I think really are here to support us. So you can go to someone else a teacher or other staff member who can help you navigate that situation. Or also just like give yourself some distance from that teacher, which I know is probably hard because they're superior. But I think maintaining that distance and telling someone else who can help you out is the first step.